Today we are taking a look at the most athletic swing in golf, and that is Dustin Johnson. Welcome to the channel, guys. If you're new here and enjoying this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like this video, and comment your thoughts below. I'd love to know what you guys think. Now, Dustin Johnson just won the Tour Championship, best golfer in the world at the moment, most athletic swing in golf as well. There's a lot that we can learn from this golf swing. There's a lot that we can take away. So let's dive straight in. Now, first of all, we're going to start out with the iron swing, and then we're going to take a look at the slow motion driver swing. Also, we're going to discuss what you can take away from this golf swing, what you can learn, and what you can or maybe shouldn't copy from this swing. So this swing is actually from the Players Championship. It was taken by Dustin's coach, Claude Harmon. And he's just hitting what looks like a short iron here, maybe a pitching wedge. So here we've got Dustin at setup. Beautiful posture, beautiful position, good bend in the knees, arms are just relaxing, hanging down. Now as Dustin starts to take the club away, he does get a little bit of a disconnect from his arms, hands, and his body. He does take the club away a little bit wide, a little bit away from him, but I do love how wide he takes the club away. Just a little bit of a disconnect to this position here, but as he starts to take the club to the top, doesn't bother him at all, gets the hands and arms nice and connected. That club shaft is almost vertical, pointing down at the ground, and this is something I love to see in people's takeaway. If you get that club steep in the takeaway in the backswing, and then in the downswing you shallow it out. Now, as Dustin gets to the top, absolutely huge hip turn, huge shoulder turn, looks absolutely amazing. Dustin has one of the widest swings in golf. You can see actually from this position that right arm, if we have a look at that. Yes, it is bent, but actually it is pretty straight if we talk about it comparatively to a lot of other golfers. But this would not be possible to have that arm so straight and have such a big wide swing if he wasn't so athletic, so flexible, so mobile to enable his body to make this huge turn, huge hip turn, huge shoulder turn to the top of the swing. That's really, really important. Obviously, Dustin has that bowed wrist, but it does match up with the club face as well. Another important thing to note is Dustin's right hand grip is very strong, but his left hand is pretty neutral. He does get the hands very, very high above his shoulder plane, but he now starts to shallow out the club, starts to drop the hands, and whilst he's doing this, he is just turning his body, and as we can see, if we pause it here parallel to the ground, that club face is just absolutely perfectly square with his spine angle. Obviously, Dustin's a fader of the ball, so he will want to keep that face square coming through into impact. Just a beautiful position. Now at this point, the body stops turning and lets the arms catch up, get back out in front of him. Beautiful posture though. His spine angle has not changed throughout this swing at all. And as he starts to come through, beautiful extension of the arms, hands, and now turns through with the body, comes through to this beautiful, balanced, very iconic finish position as well. If we have a look at that one more time and just play this swing through, just look how simple, how balanced it is. But this is all made possible by how athletic Dustin is. It's a huge turn, maintaining his posture, maintaining his spine angle. That is something that is really, really, really important to note. So now let's get into Dustin's driver swing. Dustin is the best driver of the golf ball in the world at the moment. Rory McIlroy hasn't particularly been driving it very well, especially for his standards, and Dustin has been driving it exceptionally well at the moment. So there's a lot we can learn from this driver swing. There's a lot we can take away. There's a lot we can work on in our own golf swings. But there are also a few things that maybe you shouldn't take away from this. So Dustin at setup, again, perfect setup position. He's actually a little bit more upright with his spine angle. Now obviously he is hitting driver, so that's to be expected, but his spine angle is going to change slightly. He's actually going to create a little bit more flexion in this swing. So as he starts to take the club away, again we see this huge wide takeaway. At this position there is that disconnect with the hands, arms and the body, but he kind of corrects that pretty well and pretty quickly as he starts to take the club to the top. Now at this position, at the top of the backswing, his spine angle is actually more at an angle more flexed than he was at address, which is kind of interesting. And maybe something Dustin maybe tries to work on, getting a little bit more over the ball at address. But we can still see absolutely huge hip turn, huge shoulder turn, huge high hands. That right arm again is not super bent. It's at about a 90-degree right angle. Just beautiful high hands. Obviously huge bowed left wrist. Now that is definitely something I would not recommend taking from Dustin's swing, is having that bowed left wrist. Now why, you might ask? Because obviously it works well for him, and there's other players who do it. Ram, Brooks Koepka, Daniel Berger, and all of these guys do it, and they're amazing players. They're some of the best players in the world. So why shouldn't you do it? Well, there's quite a few reasons. First of all, Brooks Koepka has had injuries with that left wrist that's kept him out for months. But if you imagine that left wrist is in a very, very bowed position, which is actually a very weak position for the wrist to be in. Now, golf is a repetitive sport. You're hitting a lot of balls, and as you come through impact, you're putting a huge amount of strain on that wrist through those small tendons that run through that wrist. And you're not just doing that once, but you're repeating it over and over and over again as you come through impact, hitting the ball, making contact, hitting the ground. That's really, over a period of time, that's going to create a very noticeable amount of wear and tear in that wrist that is almost guaranteed either going to injure you, or in later life is going to create some serious problems. So I definitely wouldn't recommend that. But it works for Dustin. It works for his performance. He's always done it. And funnily enough, he's actually never really had any problems with it that I'm personally aware of. But Dustin is a super athletic guy. He lives in the gym. Him and Brooks Koepka go to the gym together, have the same trainer down in Florida. Joey D is his name. And, you know, they work on these things day in, day out, making sure their bodies are in peak condition for golf. Now, as we take this swing down into impact, again, we're going to notice these hands and arms are going to drop straight down, shallowing that club out beautifully. Look how deep his hands and arms are at this position in the swing. For me, I don't actually think I have the flexibility in my back. I don't have the external shoulder rotation, flexibility, mobility in my right shoulder and my right arm to get the club into this position. It is an incredibly athletic position, and as he comes through, he rotates super hard, and he has a huge amount of right bend and right tilt in his spine as we pause it at impact, which is very important for him to maintain his spine angle. He does get a little bit rounded in the spine. He maintains his spine angle, but he does get a bit rounded in the spine, which again is something I would kind of worry with, because personally for me, I've gotten to that position before and I've had injuries from that, back injuries due to that. So maybe something to bear in mind. But look at that right arm connection, so connected with the body, beautiful right arm position, absolutely love that. Also look at the feet here, that right foot is very much up off the ground. Now this is something that some players do, some players don't. I personally don't like it to see in my swing, because for me it leads to early extension. Getting that right heel up off the ground causes my right knee, my right hip to then move into the ball. But obviously Dustin doesn't have this position. As he comes through impact, extending the arms, allowing them to catch up with the body's stopped rotating. Arms and hands come through beautifully connected to the body. And again, this beautiful balanced finish position. So let's have a look at this one more time. So from the start, let's play it through. Beautiful high hands to the top, huge amount of width throughout the swing, turns through, absolutely rips that ball. Just a beautiful golf swing. So good to see him. Balanced finish position, which again, something so important. Dustin, although he's hitting the ball very hard with a lot of speed, for him, he's actually not swinging that hard. He tends to swing about 70 to 80% most of his drives. He pretty much said he never swings at 100% on the golf course, which is, you know, quite interesting really, because you think of Bryson DeChambeau now swinging at 100% almost every single ball, and you know, maybe Dustin could even gain a few yards, but for him, he's long enough and that he knows if he has that driver under control, that he doesn't need to swing at 100% to hit 340-yard drives out there and hit, you know, 13 out of 14 fairways. So what can we learn from Dustin's swing? What should you copy? What shouldn't you copy? What's good? What's bad? Well, the things you should and shouldn't copy. Let's start with what you can learn from it, what you should copy, what you should look at. The first thing I'm going to mention is something you didn't see in that video that you should copy, and that is how hard Dustin works on his body. You can find videos online with his trainer Joey D and Dustin working in the gym. You can find, you know, mobility programs for golfers on YouTube now. So I would personally say, if you want to swing it like Dustin, the first step of that is actually off the course. It's in the gym, it's in your living room, it's doing stretching, it's doing mobility work, it's doing strength training, it's doing explosive work, it's doing balance training. Those are the keys to unlocking his swing. You would not be able to make those movements without doing that work. Now, another thing to mention is Dustin is just naturally a very athletic person. He's not just a good golfer, he's an amazing athlete. He played a very high level of basketball and was actually thinking about being a professional basketball player. And he's also 6'4" or 5" and has a wingspan, and what I mean by that is his arm span is actually longer than that. His arms are proportionally longer than his body, which also enables him to have that huge wide swing with those high arms, high hands. That isn't going to work for the majority of golfers. If you're 5'8" or even anything less than 6 foot and you're not as athletic, you don't spend time in the gym, you don't have a very long arm span, Dustin's swing probably isn't going to work for you. There are some things you can still learn from it, like the way he pivots, the way he turns, but you're not going to be able to copy the same arm structure in the golf swing. You're not going to be able to get those results. It's just the reality of it. You don't have the same body shape as him. Other things maybe not to copy from Dustin's swing include that left wrist position. Obviously, we've just talked about that, why you maybe shouldn't copy that. Another thing is maybe getting that right heel up off the ground early. As I've mentioned, for me personally, it leads to early extension, and I think it probably would for a lot of amateur golfers as well. But I have to say, I absolutely love watching Dustin play golf. He is so exciting to watch. He's just an incredible talent. It's great seeing him play so well again, and I really hope that the likes of Bryson DeChambeau, Tiger Woods, Rory McIlroy, all these guys start really peaking their game the next few weeks as well for these major championships coming up, because we could have some extremely exciting golf coming up. I really hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you have, make sure to give it a like, make sure to thumbs up, and comment your thoughts down below. I'd love to know what you guys think of this video, and make sure to check out some of the other videos on my channel as well. We take a look at loads of the best swings on tour, but also loads of videos of me playing golf, reviewing equipment, and giving you guys as much information as I can. As always guys, I'll see you in the next video. Grip it and rip it.